Okay, today I'm going to go sample a sound from Logic, and I'm going to multi-sample it using Auto Sampler, and then I'm going to take the samples and put them on a USB drive and then import them into my Phantom 7. And so basically, here's what the sound sounds like. Matter of fact, with the effects, the entire effects chain. Okay. And so all I'm going to do is take the raw samples. I'm going to use Auto Sampler, which I've inserted on the last part of the chain, channel strip chain. And it's going to record everything that's before. So you have to kind of decide, you know, if you want the effects or not. For me, the flanger setting is really unique, and so is the compression and EQ. So I'm going to keep that, I think, and then just take the delay and the reverb off and auto sample everything else. So here I've launched Auto Sampler, and I'm going to do every fourth semitone. It defaults to 6, and so when you specify the range, so from C1 all the way to C7 is what I'm going to do. So it's C1, C7, which is a pretty good range. And then when you hit sample, it's going to take you to a directory. This is a little tip. Normally, Auto Sampler or whatever program you're using, whether it's Sample Robot, make sure, because of the Phantom, the way it imports everything, make sure that you keep your sample name short, because you want to get the key group information, like what key, velocity, and so forth and so on. So, and I'll show you that after I export the samples. So keep this title part real short. Okay. So once you hit export, it's going to manually sample each key that you have specified into a directory folder. Okay. Okay, so I already auto sampled everything, and here's what I mean. So here's that little title, and here's the key information here. And you're going to want to be able to have a real short title so that you can, in the Phantom, see the key and the key octave group. Okay, so now I'm going to go copy these to the memory stick and then put them in the Phantom. Okay, now I've got the samples loaded on my flash drive, plugged in the back of the Phantom, and I just hit up the far right, hit the sample button, and I want to do an import to multi-sample. Go in the folder and hit Shift and select the samples that you want to import while holding Shift. And there they are. So they're going to be in alphabetical order, and so I'm going to import them, and I'm going to one shot. I'll keep emphasis on, and then create a tone, rename patch. We'll rename it the tone. We'll call this Wave Lead. W-A-V-E. Lead. Good enough. And execute. I'll save to in storage, which I'm going to do, and then go OK. It's going to take a minute, so once it gets imported, I'll be back. Okay, once I got the samples in here, they're actually arranged not in key order, or they're actually arranged in alphabetical order by key order. So all your C's will show up if that's how you sampled everything, and so forth and so on. So the only manual thing that you're going to have to do when you import these WAV files, it's important to look at the name of how you name your samples, because you want to have this detailed information so you can match the key to some extent. So if you see C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and then you have this column says original key. So you have to manually actually reference the original key for each sample, and then you just change it. So the best way to do that is hit Shift, and then while hitting that, you hit the key. Oops, that's C2. So, and then a little green, yellow light will show up showing that you've edited it. So, so I'll go to C2, C3, C4, right here, C5, C6, and we go all up to C7 on this sample set right there. And then, so this says E1, so I go all the way down to E1. Oops. So shift E1, E2, E3, E4, E5. Sort of a tedious process here. E6. Okay. And then G sharp. So basically the sample was done, I think, on every fourth note. So let me go match these up, and as soon as I get that done, I'll go to the next step. Okay, I got all the keys matched up, so I got the original key all aligned with the proper corresponding key and octave from the original sample. And over here, your chance where you can tweak a little bit, where you can change the gain of each sample and the tuning and the level. So I'm just going to go hit next. Since I use Logic Auto Sampler, pretty much evenly sampled everything, so nothing to fix. And so here is just the naked sound. It's probably not going to sound like the original sound quite just yet, but let's see. Really darn close. And so at this point, this is where synthesizer waveform editing and tweaking, where you can get that raw sample to be real close. And so I'll just make a quick attempt. If I go in the menu, tone edit, I will go into the Amplitude. First, I'm going to go into common, and this was a mono sound originally. I'll put the legato switch on. Real close. The Amplitude Envelope filter on partial one, I think. Let's see what's going on here. Let's just cut off the release. So let's see. So just change the cutoff. Let's see. Oops, excuse me. So sustain on the Amplitude Envelope. That's pretty close. Pretty darn close. I'm so close to it, I'm gonna turn the effects on and see what happens. So I see the LFO for the modulation has to be programmed, but other than that, I got real close. Let me turn the chorus on. So that was real close, and so this was a sound that I could not really recreate using the waveforms in the Phantom. So this, for what I do and so forth, worked extremely well for sampling, and it gave me a great reason to go in and do a multi-sample, and of course import it. So one of the great features of the 2.0 update for the Roland Fantom. So now I'm in tone edit while. And what I want to do is I want to save it. And so I can go back to multi-sample edit, but that's not what I want to do. I want to save it. So just hit right, and then I want to write the tone, not necessarily the scene, and keep the same name. But you can rename it just simply like that. Matter of fact, I'll put this, any tone that I create, I always put my initials on the front end of it. So, and then say okay. Now in here it says no category. It's in the user bank, this sound. If you go into here, you can see it right here. This, you can actually assign it to like a synth category, like synth lead and so forth. And let's see if I can do that right now, since I haven't got to go in here. Let's go into tone edit again. Let's go to Pro. Let's see where. Okay, it's not going to be in here. Utility, which already went into here. Okay, so I'll have to go back on another video until I can show you properly how to change that. Okay, so I'm in Common, and that's the first parameter in Tone Edit, and category assigned. So here's where you can assign the category, and I'm just going to assign it to probably Synth Lead, if I can find it. Right here, 34. Okay. It's hard to believe out of the 9 jillion synth leads, I've got nothing that sounds like this. So it's a great feature, and I'm gonna multi-sample some drums because it's another thing on here that I want to do.